The all-new 6th generation Toyota 4Runner has officially been revealed, and let me tell you, I think I'm in love. Now, the internet does seem divided on the 6th Gen 4Runner, with a lot of people loving it and thinking that Toyota has knocked it out of the park, while many other people say it doesn't look different enough than the 5th Gen, others saying it looks bloated, and many people saying it's just plain ugly. But I really like it. And maybe it's because I've been waiting for this release for years and I would have convinced myself that I liked it regardless. I don't know. But I am a big fan. The updated interior, the boxy design, and the TRD Pro color. I am a huge fan of tan and neutral colored cars. In fact, my favorite type of 4Runner was the 2015 TRD Pro, which came in sand. I wanted to buy that car when I was younger, but I couldn't afford it. And then whenever I finally could afford it, I couldn't justify a high car price for an old, higher mileage 4Runner. So I told myself that I would just wait for the 6th Gen. And boy, was that a long wait. Everything about the 6th Gen I am a big fan of. And truthfully, if you've seen my videos before, that probably doesn't come as a big surprise, because if there is one thing about me, it is that I am a Toyota fangirl through and through, and I absolutely love the 4Runner. I have a 1997 Toyota 4Runner that I've had since I was 16 years old. Prior to me owning it, a relative owned it, and it's been in my family since it rolled off the assembly line in '97, with me owning it over the last 14 years. Currently, it has over 340,000 miles on it, and I absolutely love it. And while my 97 4Runner did recently get put into semi-retirement as I got a Tesla Model 3 Performance to replace my 4Runner as a daily driver, because while I do still own my 4Runner and I have no plans to ever sell it, the reality is the AC is a bit, well, lacking in the Texas summer. And I told myself last year, after driving it as my primary vehicle during the 2023 summer, that I would never ever do that again, and thus I got a Tesla right in time for the summer months this year. But my Tesla will absolutely be getting the boot sooner than later, because I will be purchasing a 2025 6th generation 4Runner TRD Pro in the mud bath color. But the truth is, when that's going to happen and how much, myself and other prospective 6th gen 4Runner buyers are going to have to pay, those are details that nobody really knows yet. And if we look at the close cousin of the 4Runner, the Toyota Tacoma, for insight, well, things don't look great. But before we dive into that, if you're an OG viewer of this channel, you know that during the pandemic, I built a camper van in my backyard. And if you were wondering how parking and building a massive camper van in your backyard for nearly 2 years will affect your grass, the answer is not good. And even though we've been done with my camper van for about a year and a half, my backyard is still full of dead grass, patchy spots, weeds, and it just doesn't look good. This is why whenever I heard about Sunday, I couldn't wait to give it a try. Sunday is a DIY lawn care company that provides you with a customized lawn plan tailored to your yard to help foster the growth and success of your lawn. And it's all shipped right to your door. And let me tell you, I just recently started using the Sunday nutrient pouches on my yard, and I can already tell a difference. And I can't wait until my next box. The best part is the entire process couldn't be easier. You simply go to getsunday.com, you're going to type in your address, and then you'll click Start Lawn Analysis. Sunday will then pull up a Google Earth image of your property where you'll confirm the approximate square footage of your yard. You follow the prompts, and within a few short minutes, you'll have a variety of custom plans to choose from. You can also upgrade your plan based on your individual goals for your yard. But that's not all, because Sunday is currently running a promo where you can get 25% off your first custom lawn plan by using the code JANIK25. That's JANIK 25. If you're interested in checking out Sunday and getting your custom lawn plan, then go to getsunday.com/Janik and be sure to use the code JANIK25 to get your 25% off. The link will also be down in the description below. The Tacoma, like the 4Runner, was announced last spring for an end-of-year/late fall release. And both the 4Runner and the Tacoma have a similar lineup: your base and lower trim models, the TRD lineup including the Pro model, the new Trail Hunter, which was revealed with the Tacoma and the 4Runner followed suit, as well as the limited models as well, with the 4Runner introducing the new Platinum. The problem, though, lies with the fact that Toyota has had severe inventory struggles, which you can see here. In fact, despite the reality that Toyota sells a ton of cars, their inventory levels are far less than the average automaker, especially the average automaker of their size. And this low inventory is absolutely impacting the rollout of Toyota's new lineup. Because while Toyota's 2024 Tacoma has been released for a few months now, some of the most sought-after trim levels have not only not been released, but they don't even have a price or a timeline for release. With the Trail Hunter and the TRD Pro, two heavily sought-after trim levels for the Tacoma still being advertised as coming soon for both release date and price on Toyota's website. And if you want to build out these models in order to spec them out, well, you don't have the ability to do so, which wouldn't really be a concern if it wasn't for the fact that these are 2024 model trucks and we are in April of 2024. So to say that this is a bit delayed, well, I think that could be an understatement. And even for the lower trim model Tacomas, the ones that are currently released and are driving on roads today, dealerships are charging a hefty markup. If we look online, you can see that there are plenty of dealerships that are advertising dealership markups and adjustments, like this one, or this one that's selling for $5,000 above MSRP, or this one that's also selling above MSRP. And again, I want to emphasize that these are the less hot models of the Tacoma. These are not the TRD Pro or the Trail Hunter, two new, heavily sought after and expensive models of the Tacoma that haven't been released yet, which will no doubt see some pretty hefty markups. And again, this is in the context of a Tacoma, but another great example that we can look at in order to get some insight into how the 4Runner rollout will continue to play out is whenever we look at the Land Cruiser. The Land Cruiser was also announced last year for a spring of 2024 release. And here we are in spring, and yet the Land Cruiser hasn't started being delivered yet. Though granted, Toyota does still have some time because we're kind of just in the early spring. And while we do have the price for the Land Cruiser, again, we don't have the exact ETA, and so that's still sort of undetermined. And all of this is really pointing to the fact that whenever it comes to the 6th generation 4Runner, nobody really knows what to expect. Now, what we do know about the 6th gen 4Runner is that it will be less expensive than the Land Cruiser, but more expensive than the Tacoma. We can expect for at least the base model trim levels to be released later this year, but truthfully, if I was a betting person, I would bet that we probably won't see the TRD Pro, Platinum, or the Trail Hunter Edition 4Runners released until around this time next year, so mid-2025. And while basically everything else, your guess is as good as mine. And I do think it's safe for us all to assume that whenever the 6th generation 4Runner is officially released, dealerships will absolutely be applying a markup, especially on the Trail Hunter and TRD Pro models. The other thing that's strange about the 6th gen release is where the 4Runner lies in the Toyota lineup and really what segment of vehicle that it's in. Now, this isn't really so much of a dealership issue, and truthfully, I don't know that this is even an issue at all, but it's definitely something that's interesting to discuss. And I know that it leaves me, as well as many other people, with a lot of questions. Now, the Land Cruiser was released last year, and whenever the Land Cruiser was released, there was some speculation online that maybe the re-release of the Land Cruiser meant that the 4Runner in America would be coming to an end. Because while the Land Cruiser is considered to be a more premium version of the 4Runner, these vehicles are very, very similar. They are about the same size, they both have an off-road focus, and while the Land Cruiser is more expensive, they are sort of in the same price range. And once it was confirmed that the 6th gen 4Runner was in fact not disappearing, there was new speculation that maybe Toyota would be pivoting the 4Runner to more directly compete with the likes of the Bronco and the Wrangler. Something like a removable top, smaller footprint, kind of going back to the original roots of the 4Runner. And while I got to admit I'm glad that Toyota did not go this direction because I'm not a fan of either the Bronco, the Wrangler, or removable tops, I can see why people thought that they would go this direction because it really does make sense. Instead, Toyota releases the 6th gen 4Runner, which looks like the Sequoia and the 5th gen 4Runner and the 6th gen Tacoma all had a baby. The car is very similar to the Land Cruiser when it comes to size. It probably won't be too far off when it comes to price, and it does leave many people, including myself, wondering why Toyota introduced two cars that are very, very similar to one another within the same lineup. And this doesn't even include the Lexus lineup, which also has cars that are very similar to both of these as well. The point is, I am very interested to see how the 6th gen 4Runner rollout will end up playing out. Between competition within their own lineup, inventory being bogged down by a variety of different factors, and a spotty timeline and pricing structure, it makes even the most enthusiastic prospective buyers a bit leery and unsure about how they're going to go about buying this, which isn't a good thing for Toyota. And while I absolutely put myself into the category of enthusiastic prospective buyer, let's just say I'm really happy that I did buy my Tesla Model 3 Performance because I'm going to be willing to bet that we won't actually be seeing these 4Runners on the road until the very end of this year. And I think for the TRD Pro and the Trail Hunter, it's going to be at least a year from now until they start being released. And so you 4Runner buyers out there, we have a long way to wait. And again, for Toyota, that's not great news. But like always, you guys, I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, comments, if you have anything to add, I would love to hear it. So make sure to leave a comment down below. And while you guys are at it, make sure to hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit the notification bell. And I will see you guys in the next video.